Hello there, world. We are live now on X, Facebook, and YouTube, and with a little practice session before tomorrow's vigil at 12th and Hawthorne in Portland, southeast Portland, from noon to 2, which will be a vigil from Gaza, which will hopefully start being a weekly thing there. Maybe we should have a banner here explaining what this is that we're doing. Oh, and what happened to all the banners? We don't need a banner. Anyway, forget about it. Here's the title track of my new album. Let's improve the visuals a little bit here. Okay. Not much improved, but at least I'm in the frame now. Okay. Camp's open air, that's the one thing that distinguishes what is happening in Gaza right now compared to the time of the Third Reich and its crimes. Against any decency, against any sanity, against all the children, against all humanity. From Auschwitz to Gaza, there's no difference between babies and fighters on that side of the fence, the side where they starve because the food is kept out by the occupation. No others, no doubt, where people are dropping dead on their feet while searching for crumbs of food on the street. From Auschwitz to Gaza, all night and all day, all the people inside just wasting away. Everyone waiting for death to arrive, shot or starved or burned alive, where each passing moment is punctured by groans of a million children as thin as their bones. From Auschwitz to Gaza, the outside world knew, and many lamented about what they might do while their leaders looked for money to be made in the arms trade. Once again, just like this, profiting from the apocalypse. From Auschwitz to Gaza, the stages of starvation are exactly the same under occupation. First the fat goes, then all the rest, the muscle, the marrow, the milk in the breasts of all nursing mothers, as in front of their eyes their babies cry their last little cries. From Auschwitz to Gaza, the stages from Auschwitz to Gaza under either command, all of the killing is entirely planned. Whether they call it a camp or a zone, it's all the same skin and bone. Whether they say work makes you free or humanitarian city. Auschwitz to Gaza, the political line, from occupied Poland to Palestine. Leaders outside will say we weren't aware of the extent of the horrors happening there. They'll shed a few tears and somberly then make a speech at the UN. Auschwitz to Gaza, all over the place, the lies of the leaders who seek to save face, who say we would have acted if only we knew all that they claimed they really would do, and no one will believe at the time when some foolish person says never again. From Auschwitz to Gaza, And if I can see your comments, by the way, whether you're watching on YouTube, X, or Facebook, and if anybody has any feedback, especially on the sound quality, if there's any distortion or you can't hear or whatever, might be able to do something about that. And once again, if you're in the Portland area, there's a vigil for Gaza at 12th and Hawthorne Sunday, and hopefully it's going to become a regular weekly thing on Sunday at 12th and Hawthorne from noon to 2. And we'll have music there, me and whoever else might show up. And you know what I'll be singing about, because it's the same stuff I'm singing about right here, right now. From a walled-off ghetto, a rebellion began. Then the war that's being waged against every child, woman, and man within the Gaza ghetto, where half of the people are kids. Israel targeted everyone. That's exactly what they did. After 18 months of total war, with most everything gone, despite such unequal odds, the resistance went on. So the regime decided the only way to win was to starve to death all the people within. In the future we'll look back. The future we'll look back and ask how we all stood by as we watched a million children die. Netanyahu declared, making it clear as day, to win against Hamas, this is the only way. To starve the population, our retribution will be famine and disease, the final solution. In the future we'll look back and ask how we all stood by as we watched a million children die. Sometime later they'll surmise, as they consider the assassins, that a Jewish state could do this. They'll say no one could imagine. They'll pretend we didn't know, or no one could turn the tide once the Israelis are finished committing genocide. In the future we'll look back and ask how we all stood by as we watched a million children die. As we watched a million children die. And that's what we're all doing. And I know that lots of people are not doing well as we are doing that. And it's really for those of us who are of Jewish extraction, which is quite a lot of the movement, such as it is against the genocide in this country anyway. We grew up learning about how there's no way that Jews would do this kind of thing to other people, given what happened to Jews historically. But all those people who said that were wrong. It was very powerful in Canberra at the demo that we sang at while Veronica Sherman, Israeli citizen, burned her passport in front of the stage while we sang this song. Where were you when the walled ghetto rose? Where were you when the bombing began? When the Israeli state started the slaughter of every child, woman and man? Where were you when they imposed the embargo? When Gaza starved and died? When the body parts littered the ground? When the Jewish state committed genocide? Where were you when this Holocaust happened? Where were you at the beginning of May? Did you commemorate 1945 on Victory Day? Where were you when they bombed the last hospital with all the children inside, which Israel called another terrorist base when the Jewish state committed genocide? Where were you when they tortured the doctors, when the snipers shot all the kids? Were you watching the proceedings in Rome? And instead of the things that he did you hope he might fly off to Egypt to fast till they let him inside? Did you hope someone might do something when the Jewish state committed genocide? Where were you when it became clear that the leadership meant what they said, just like Adolf meant what he wrote, that these people would soon all be dead? Where were you when he went on TV? What else could we have tried? When he said we should Holocaust them and the Jewish state committed genocide? Where were you when you saw the rib cages? When you realized this really was it, that they actually intended to kill them all, which the pundits would never admit? Now that there's a before and after, now that never again is a lie, now that this crime has been repeated since the Jewish state committed genocide, where were you? So, let's see. I wrote down a set list, and I even practiced a little bit in advance, believe it or not. It's not really in evidence too much, but let's see. What was I thinking? Well, I have a whole lot of songs I was thinking of doing, and actually it's far too many to do right now because I've written a lot of songs about this genocide. Doesn't stop the genocide, but keeps me from jumping off any bridges. Let's see. There's been a vote recently in the Congress, or in the Senate anyway, that I wrote a song about. Bernie Sanders was trying to basically see how many people would be, how many senators were going to vote to block military aid to Israel, and all the Republicans voted not to block military aid. They voted against the resolution. And half the Democrats also voted against the resolution. And half of them voted for it. And people are saying that's wonderful that half the Democrats in the Senate are voting to block military aid. And yeah, that's good. But this is a song about the other ones, the genocide supporting ones. Let's see. It's always that first. For 2 years now, bombs are falling on the entire strip beneath them, with the army demolishing everything, killing every root and stem, killing every man and woman, shooting kids too starved to cry. Now the Senate has voted again to make sure more kids will die. 24 senators voted to stop the weapons flow, but the other half of the caucus with the Republicans voted no. The other half of the caucus voted for the genocide, to keep sending the tank shells across the ocean wide. Let's say their names: Maria Cantwell, Chuck Schumer, Gillibrand. Voted for the Holocaust in the Holy Land. John Fetterman, Ron Wyden, and Richard Blumenthal voted absolutely to say they endorse it all. The terror on the ground, on the sea, and in the sky. Jack Reed and John Ossoff voted for the kids to die. Like the rest of their colleagues, they had time to contemplate whether they should support the actions of this state, but against the deepest wishes of most people in the world. These are the ones who voted for more missiles to be hurled. Let's say their names: Cory Booker, Adam Schiff, Chris Coons. All of them are marching to the genocidal tune. Alex Padilla, Gary Peters, Jackie Rosen are a few. What other acts of evil might be coming from this crew who voted for the terror on the sea and in the sky? Maggie Hassan and Mark Warner voted for the kids to die. Every one of the millions who will soon be dead, killed by the IDF and all the arms that they've been fed, along with our hard-earned taxes by those supporting this regime. These politicians who pretend it's not what it seems. Let's say their names: Maria Cantwell, Chuck Schumer, Gillibrand. Voted for the Holocaust in the Holy Land. John Fetterman, Ron Wyden, and Richard Blumenthal voted absolutely to say they endorse it all. A terror on the ground, on the sea, and in the sky. Jack Reed and John Ossoff voted for the kids to die. Let's say their names: Cory Booker, Adam Schiff, Chris Coons. All of them are marching to the genocidal tune. Alex Padilla, Gary Peters, Jackie Rosen are a few. What other acts of evil might be coming from this crew who voted for the terror on the sea and in the sky? Maggie Hassan and Mark Warner voted for the kids to die. Let's say their names. Meanwhile, in England, in the UK, and I say that by which I mean the nation called the United Kingdom, which makes laws that impact everybody who live in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Just to clarify, for anybody that doesn't like that term, I don't like it either, but that's the name of the country. And it's not up to us till after the revolution. Then we can name it whatever we want to. But at the moment, there's a country called the United Kingdom. And in the United Kingdom, it's illegal to support Palestine action. In the United Kingdom, you can go to prison for 14 years for supporting a group that has never hurt anybody. Since long before this moment, but especially since then, the Western world's governments have supported the killing of children by Israeli soldiers without fail every day, gunning them down with weapons made in the UK. Palestine action formed to try to end these arms sales that the courts could not defend. The courts could not defend them, so the parliament became the vehicle to support the bombing of the tents, which needs to be supported. So says the British state, aside from 26 MPs who failed to conflate supporting terrorism with opposing Israeli crimes by those who think we're living in some very scary times, where it is now against the law to express sympathy with those who would destroy corporate property. Illegal to say with eyes open wide, I support Palestine action, I oppose genocide. International law, along with UK law as well, forbids such weapons sales to countries like Israel. That is, countries that are committing crimes of war are not allowed to import, no access to the store. But in London and Berlin, they just look the other way at those inconvenient laws. There's a new one today: solidarity imprisoned and vilified if you support Palestine action and oppose genocide. witness to this constant slaughter, depriving Gaza of food and water, bombing children day and night, where body parts strewn are an hourly sight. The authorities take aim and then crack down on those who dare dissent in London town, who must stand up, not stand aside, who support Palestine action and oppose genocide. Will we pack the prisons, or will we disappear? Have a Spartacus moment, or a time of fear? Back down and go home, or stand with humanity? Support the war machine, or support sanity? We'll see what comes next in the story of the descent of Keir Starmer and his kindercidal government. We'll see who's willing to shout with pride, I support Palestine action, I oppose genocide. I support Palestine action, I oppose genocide. I support Palestine action, I oppose genocide. We'll be going, me and Kamala, aka the Ministry of Culture, will be going to England and maybe even Scotland and perhaps other countries around there. And we'll be getting arrested and going to prison for 14 years if we're lucky. And we'll be in the Midwest, U.S., coming right up at the end of this month, from August 30th until September 7th. We'll be doing gigs in Illinois and Wisconsin, Chicago, Rockford, Milwaukee, Madison, Woodruff, and Viroqua. And the Milwaukee one will be a big event in a park, hopefully with lots of people. Gaza benefit, others are as well. And all the info about the tour is at davidrovics.com/tour. And Kamala will also be joining me in the northeastern U.S. For most of the month of October. And we have a bunch of gigs in New York City and Boston and probably elsewhere, or definitely elsewhere, but so far it's not all confirmed yet. And if anybody lives in the Midwest or in the Northeast, we'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. We can do more house concerts. We got lots of free dates. In December, I'll be going to Texas for probably about a week. And in January, late January, early February, Kamala and I will be touring in California. And as I mentioned, in May, in the UK and probably Denmark as well. So there's some things coming up. If anybody lives in any of those places or might want to organize a show or come to a show, all the info that exists so far is on my website, and the rest will be up there when I know about it. And people sometimes ask, do you ever play around Portland? And I rarely do, but I'm playing in Portland tomorrow at noon, from noon to 2, 12th and Hawthorne. Vigil for Gaza. Hopefully it's going to become a weekly thing, but it's happening tomorrow anyway. I'll be singing. Other folks will be saying a few words. And if anybody else is out there who wants to come, say a few words or sing or read a poem or anything, bring a banner, come on over. 12th and Hawthorne, Sunday. Hopefully this is every Sunday at noon. Of course, it will be every Sunday if you just show up every Sunday. Let's see here. What should I do now? I take requests. If I wrote it, then, I might know it. Some good chance of it anyway. Let's see. How about something... Let's see. Well, we'll do another one from the new album. for all those Palestine Action folks. We got they got a lot of Elbit Systems factories in England and Scotland. That's an Israeli arms producing company, and we have 5 major arms producing companies in the U.S. Many others, but 5 really, really big ones. 5 companies that, along with Elbit Systems, are the companies responsible for supplying Israel with, I believe, all of their bunker busters, among other things that they only get from these companies. Boeing, Honeywell, make the war material. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, it's the way they mow the lawn. The last one to add to the mix, that's General Dynamics. Together in the Holocene, they're the war machine. I'm talking about the war machine that sends off the jets and missiles, laying waste to Palestine. But for the bunker busters, if not for these fearsome 5, who knows how many children would still be left alive? What if we blocked the ports and never let them go? What if the people all said no? I'm talking about the war machine that sends off the jets and missiles, laying waste to Palestine. What if we got together and said this cannot be, that this slaughter is made possible by my country and certain enterprises they call defense corporations that provide the genocide heirs with all their ammunition? I'm talking about the war machine that sends off the jets and missiles, laying waste to Palestine. What if we built a new world on the ashes of the old? What if we started by never doing what we're told? If we're working for the export of precision-guided genocide, what if we built resistance until we turn the tide? I'm talking about the war machine that sends off the jets and missiles, laying waste to Palestine. Boeing, Honeywell, make the war material. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, it's the way they mow the lawn. The last one to add to the mix, that's General Dynamics. Together in the Holocene, they're the war machine. Let's see here. We'll do... the set list is too long, so it's not really very helpful. Hiroshima, kill 100,000 kids. You can make up stories about how that's not what you did. Bomb dams in Korea, you can party as they drown. You can bomb Cambodia, burn the forests and the towns. You can bomb Panama City. You can bomb Sudan. You can bomb Damascus. You can bomb Afghanistan. You can bomb Benghazi, pretend you've come to liberate. You can bomb Belgrade. You can bomb Islamic State. Maybe we'll learn. Once all the bombing ceased, you can't bomb your way to peace. You can bomb refineries. You can bomb the ports. You can bomb the hospitals. You can bomb the courts. You can bomb the schools. You can bomb the tents. You can call it retribution. You can call it common sense. Maybe we'll learn. Once all the bombing ceased, you can't bomb your way to peace. You can bomb Fallujah. You can bomb Mosul. You can try to run the planet. You can make up all the rules. You can bomb the ancient cities of Yemen and Iran. You can bomb the world until the world is gone. Maybe we'll learn. Once all the bombing ceased, you can't bomb your way to peace. You can bomb Hiroshima. It's one thing I don't manage to do a whole lot about genocide is write funny songs. Although you can write funny songs about anything, even genocide. And if you've ever seen the movie Life is Beautiful, it's a wonderful Italian movie, case in point. They say the arc of history bends towards justice. I don't think that's how it seems. But if there's hope for this shattered world, then we'll find it in our dreams. In our dreams, we can go walking on the beach, by the shore, eat an ice cream, see a songbird as it was so long before. In our dreams, the schools are open with all the kids, teachers in there. The hospitals are all still standing with nurses and doctors everywhere. In our dreams, our home exists and our family lives inside. There are no drones, there is no rubble, no reason to run and hide. In our dreams, we could go fishing whenever we might have the notion. No gunships firing on our boats as we set sail out on the ocean. In our dreams, the mosques and churches are still there for us to pray. Down the street there's still a swing set where the kids are still at play. In our dreams, we have allies who couldn't just stand idly by. When we were dying of starvation, they came by sea, land, and sky. In our dreams, we're reunited. The settlements all start to burn, and all the people go back home, where we finally return. say the arc of history bends towards justice. I don't think that's how it seems. But if there's hope for this shattered world, then we'll find it in our dreams. That's the title track of the last album. Wrote a song a couple days ago. I'll do that. It's a song for a photograph. And all the other photographs. It's a song that probably without much subtlety is trying to illustrate or make a certain point, which is one I make a lot, which never seems to result in anything good happening. But the best way to kill a social movement is just have rallies with people shouting into the microphone the whole time. That will alienate people. They'll leave. They'll stop coming back. No matter how much they feel passionately about the issue, they'll realize that this is not going to go anywhere. And they'll get discouraged and they go home and kill themselves or whatever they do. But if you want a social movement to actually be effective and to grow, it needs to be full of art and culture. And that's obvious. That's obvious to people around the world. It's been obvious to people around the world forever. And it's obvious to most people around the world now. But it's not obvious to people in the English-speaking countries. And I blame the intelligence agencies for that primarily. And the music industry as well. But we have to overcome this if there's any hope for humanity. And it's not looking good. There's a certain moment, if you're lucky enough, when you might so viscerally understand so hard how all of us are all members of the human family. Some people hear a song, others fall in love. Some people leave home and see the world. For me it was in an article I read, just a photo of a little girl. She was maybe 3 years old, with a mop of curly brown hair, despondent, standing on the ruins of her home, clutching a little teddy bear. Ain't it something how a heart can melt like that, just from a single picture frame? How an image can make sense of everything that matters, and you don't even need to know her name. Because we all know children just like her. We want to make them safe and hold them tight. And we can't imagine how someone could do this, create such a sight. She was maybe 3 years old, with a mop of curly brown hair, despondent, standing on the ruins of her home, clutching a little teddy bear. I might forget the details of whatever it was I read, but that photograph is seared in my mind. The photo of the girl that was a photo of all the children, all of humankind. The greatest lessons that I ever could have learned didn't come from all the stories that were filed, nor from all the speeches or statistics, but from one photo of a broken little child. She was maybe 3 years old, with a mop of curly brown hair, despondent, standing on the ruins of her home, clutching a little teddy bear. There's a certain moment, if you're lucky enough, when you might so viscerally understand so hard how all of us are all members of the human family. Yeah, that's where it ends. This is a dress rehearsal as I build it, and it is, in fact, actually. I'm going to depart slightly, only ever so slightly, from the theme here, because, like I mentioned a little while ago, that I blamed the intelligence agencies for the state of the non-musical shouting into the microphone left of the modern Anglospheric world. And I'm not paranoid. I actually just know things that a lot of other people don't seem to know. It's not, and I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I do believe in conspiracies because there are a lot of actual conspiracies going on, and people need to know about that. People need to know that the FBI, for example, has spent its entire existence undermining, destroying, assassinating, otherwise, debilitating the left in the United States. That has been its purpose, and that's as well documented. But most of the documentation about that is from 1908 to 1971, because in 1971, the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI raided the FBI offices in Media, Pennsylvania, and liberated thousands of documents that proved that the FBI has, in fact, been trying to destroy the left since its inception, contrary to whatever nonsense they say they've been doing. And they're still at it, I'm quite certain. It's just we haven't had anybody raid one of their offices since 1971, so the details are not clear, but it's really obviously happening. And one of the things I'm quite convinced they've been trying to do for the past 50 years, for my entire lifetime basically, is make sure that the political people and the cultural people do not know each other or work together or have anything to do with each other, because the combination, as they discovered on multiple occasions in the 30s and the teens and in the 60s, the combination of artists and organizers working together is way too powerful, and they have to make sure that doesn't happen. And it's not happening now. And they won. But I can at least tell you about it. All 32 of you listening. The U.S. war on Vietnam was about a decade on, with millions of lives already gone. At home the war was on descent. In practical form, what that meant was billy clubs and prison time. But beyond that, feeling of a microphone under every hat, the sense of being watched, not knowing who to trust. Some folks in Philadelphia decided that they must get to the bottom of it, and to find out why they formed the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI. They were tired of the secrecy, the men who hide in vans with headphones, sitting inside, tired of the paranoia that seemed so on the rise. Professor Davidon was intent on removing the disguise. He brought a group together, and they began to learn the skills that would be needed to carry out a plan to commit a burglary. See what's in those drawers if they liberate all the folders filed on that floor. In the town of Media, they'd risk everything to try the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI. Forsyth became a locksmith, as good as anyone. The burglars carried out their plan as it had been spun. Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali were having their big fight. Hundreds of millions of people were watching that night, including anyone who might have noticed what was going down in that sleepy little town. They made off with the files and they got away. Went off to the countryside to see what they might say. They started reading at the farm beneath the Pennsylvania sky. The Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI. What they found was shocking and things everyone needed to know. This was when the world first learned of COINTELPRO, that the FBI had agents on every campus in the country. A system of informants so very like the Stasi, a police state on a mission to undermine and neutralize, to create fear and paranoia by spreading rumors and lies. They had 1,000 files with stories of the way, the dirty tricks campaigns across the USA, the assassinations carried out by the American spy, the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI. Burglars uncovered a story so old none of them were alive when it began to be told. Since the FBI was formed, right up until now, the documents documented exactly how the secret police carry out their secret deeds with distracting and destroying, their tactics and their creed. The tip of the iceberg was all they really got, unlike the millions and millions of files which have not ever seen the light of day, except by and by the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI. Later, a director would haltingly admit, if it wasn't for the burglars, it would still remain a secret. What they won't acknowledge, though, is the fact, regardless of how the spy leaders react, according to the rules of their nefarious game, all they did was change the name. And if you're wondering who the agents are in the modern day, just log into social media and see what they might say. Someone's leading a smear campaign. We just might know why, because of the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI. The Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI. Let's see here. In Gaza, as people who are paying any attention are already much too well aware, they are, the U.S.-Israeli team has set up the Gaza Holocaust Foundation, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and they're running a sort of a Hunger Games there every morning. They commit a massacre of between in the low to dozens to the over 100 people every morning are being killed just before dawn or just after dawn, depending, as they are trying to get food as they're starving, and they're being given food that requires cooking in the midst of a situation where everybody's living in rubble and has nowhere to cook anything, no water, and they're being given like rice and macaroni. It's bait is what it is. As the Gaza district becomes one big apocalypse, as hunger eats everyone inside, at the walled-in ghetto they all live in, where hundreds of thousands have already died. In the final days of the final solution, whatever else somebody claims, there's the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Hunger Games. 3 months after the last aid truck entered, with ribs protruding all over the strip, with Israeli troops guarding all the borders, not letting in a truck or a plane or a ship. And then with barbed wire and machine guns, the drones and the snipers take aim at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Hunger Games. People walk for for 10 or 20 miles to find soldiers everywhere when they arrive, who give them 20 minutes to fight for food, and then with ammunition live, the snipers, drones, and tanks mow them down, morning after morning, just the same, at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Hunger Games. Everybody knows they're risking death, measuring their lives by the hour, but especially if they walk in the open where they need to go to try to get some flour. Most come back empty-handed with stories of those killed and maimed at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Hunger Games. It was the cradle of civilization and the place where that all ended, where humans found new ways to show inhumanity that could never be defended. Israelis and Americans, to their eternal shame, who ran the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Hunger Games, as the Gaza district becomes one big apocalypse. And let's see, what else was I thinking of? Yeah, do that. So, did I mention? I did mention, but I'll mention it again because that's just what I do with these shows. Tomorrow, Sunday, August 10th, will be the first that I know of, at least as far as like my friends are involved with, the first vigil in the southeast neighborhood where I live. It'll be 12th in Hawthorne from noon to 2 this Sunday, and I believe after that every Sunday. And then when I'm home, I'll be singing at it, and when I'm not home, I won't be, because I'll be on tour when I'm not home. And I will be on tour with Kamala Emanuel, a.k.a. me and Kamala are the Ministry of Culture. We'll be on tour together in the Midwest, in Illinois and Wisconsin, at the end of this month, or for the first week of September, basically, including the last couple days of August. And then in October, we will be in the Northeast U.S., and in January, February, late January, early February, we'll be in California. And then in May, late April, early May kind of timeline, we'll be in Denmark and England and maybe elsewhere. And if you are in any of those places, or if you're in the Northwest where I live, I'd love to hear from you about anything. Singing at a rally, which I'll do for free if I can make it there, and house concerts, whatever. Just hit me up. Workshops about how to plug culture into the movement. Workshops on how to write songs about current events, history, whatever. I'm up for it. And info about the tours, davidrovics.com/tour. All the songs I've written about Gaza and Palestine over the past couple years and before that is at davidrovics.com/Palestine. And if you want to support what I'm doing, I'm not sure if we're going to be having to put the rent on a credit card next month. And unfortunately, I'm serious. And I am a community-supported artist to the extent that I'm supported. The problem is the rent keeps on going up. But davidrovics.com/subscribe, or you can find me on Patreon or Substack. I write essays and podcasts and do podcasts, and it's all free. But if you want to support what I'm doing, you can do it on Patreon or on Substack or at davidrovics.com/subscribe. And if I can keep paying the rent, then I can keep avoiding a real job, and I can keep spending all my time writing depressing songs about massacring starving children. So up to you whether I should continue this project or not. The first album I put out about the Gaza Holocaust was called Notes from a Holocaust. I put it out in January 2024. It was taken down from Spotify for having the word Holocaust in it, and I changed the title, and now it's still up. And this song is from that album, I believe. Or maybe it was the next one, I can't remember. If a song could bring us together across the planet that gave us birth, to act as one, bring peace and justice all around the shattered earth. If a song could take down borders, take down fences, make them fall, liberate all those imprisoned, kept behind the ghetto walls. If a song could stop the bombs, so the next might be the last. If a song could change the future, so it won't be like the past. If a song could be a missile fired from the Iron Dome, if it could protect the children, keep them safe within their homes. If a song could raise an army and transport it on command, take us all to Palestine to defend the Holy Land. If a song could be concrete and put to use to rebuild, if it might turn back the clock, bring back all the babies killed. If a song could be a blueprint, instructions to show us how. If a song could change the world, then let us sing it now. If a song could bring us together across the planet that gave us birth, to act as one, bring peace and justice all around this shattered earth. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope to see you on the road and in the streets. Take care. Bye for now.